Mike Dell's World, number 210 for February 28th, 2015.
Don't bend the space-time continuum for me, babe.
Quit screwing around with that thing. You found Mike Dell's World.
I've been going down to the other side of town. There's a gentleman plays the dobro for free. I asked that man to teach me all that he'd preach to me. So first, you're gonna have a drink with me. With his dobro on his knee, he looked across at me, said there's a rumor about Hank Williams I should tell you. For several years of his life, we had a Mexican wife who distilled him a very special brew. So we drank a little honky-tonk tequila, and I began to feel that you'll someday be an uncle to my kid. When he wants an explanation for his daddy's reputation, don't you tell him about all the things we did. Don't you tell him about all the things we did. That man said always abide by the melody inside. Some sing it high, some sing it low. But no matter where you sing, don't forget one thing. This ain't no dog and pony show. So we're drinking little honky-tonk tequila, and I beginning to feel that you'll someday be uncle to my kid, my firstborn son. When he wants an explanation for his daddy's reputation, don't you tell him about all the things we did. Don't you tell him about all the things we did. Though it wasn't part of the plan, I'm now playing in the band. A better life, I really couldn't say. At night I sing the blues for the girl I had to lose. She couldn't take my honky-tonk ways, so she's drinking that honky
from Hot Buttered Rum, and you're enjoying Mike Dell's World Podcast.
Well, I'm hoping you enjoyed that anyway. Been a while. In fact, I'm going to have to go back and instead of banging the microphone, I'm going to have to go back and look and see just how long has it been since I've done a Mike Dell's World. I know the last one was episode 209. And, well, okay, that wasn't that long ago. It's been almost 3 months. December 6th of 2014, it says, here on the newly redesigned and retweaked and then redesigned and retweaked some more, MikeDell.com, which is my website if you're not familiar with it. But good that you downloaded this or pressed the play button or however you're getting this. Let me know how you're getting this. Mike at MikeDell.com. That'd be kind of cool. And let's see. I actually scratched out a little notes here. So yeah. All right. English this time. I scratched out a few notes so that I can sort of keep on track here instead of going all wild like I usually do. Let's see. First off, that was Hot Buttered Rum. And of course, Aaron there did the little liner ID there at the end of the song. That was off their album Limbs Akimbo, off of, that's the album, Limbs Akimbo, and the song was Honky Tonk Tequila. And I'll play another one of those tunes here a little later on in the podcast off of that same CD. Of course, I have permission from Aaron and the guys over at Hot Buttered Rum. Go check them out if they're touring in your area. I'll have links in the show notes to those guys. Very good group. So, as most of you probably know, I do another podcast, and that's the one I've been kind of focusing my podcast mojo towards. Although I do have a new podcast over here at MikeDell.com called Mike Rants. If you go to MikeDell.com and click on Mike Rants, you're just all it is me turning on the microphone and bitching about something. And actually I'm going to put a clip in there. Right now I've just got one out there, but I'm going to put a clip in that one. I'm not going to play it here because frankly I don't have it all edited out and everything, but it's a clip of me complaining about local or music broadcasters, FM radio broadcasters that play music all the time and the stations they belong to. And what was funny is the most popular morning show around here, local morning show, I don't know how popular they are, but it used to be years ago on the rock radio station, there was a show called Omelet and Finster, I think it was called. And anyway, the two of them, Finster left and went to another station. So now there's Finster on one station and Omelet and Friends on this other local station, WKLT. That's at WKLT.com. Check it out. They've got some pretty good interviews and stuff. Their morning show is more talk than music. And it is not one of the brain dead ones I was talking about. The morning guys in general around here, since all this is pretty much local, we do have, a national morning show, of course, played here, Bob and Tom. I was a fan of Bob and Tom. Bob and Tom were local to here. In fact, Bob, I believe, of Bob and Tom, was a bartender at a burger bar in Harbor Springs, Michigan. I was trying to think of the towns. It's all from memory here, so, if I get some details wrong, well, so be it. But Bob was a bartender there, and Tom was the morning guy on, I'll probably mess this up too, WJML, I think. I wouldn't put that for sure, but anyway, it was the rock station in the 70s and 80s. Out of Petoskey, Michigan, which is kind of around the bay from Harbor Springs up there, Little Traverse Bay. Of course, I'm on Big Grand Traverse Bay, East Grand Traverse Bay to be exact, where our little 1940s log cabin sits. Anyway, Tom, who was the morning guy on there, used to go in for lunch at this burger bar in Harbor Springs after his shift in the morning, and of course Bob was working, the afternoons or whatever there, and the two of them became pretty good friends. And apparently Bob had been in radio before, and they kind of hit it off, and pretty soon the Bob and Tom Show was born right here at, I want to say WJML, but I'm not sure. Anyway, back to the story. See, I still wander even if I have notes. But anyway, Omelette of Omelette and Friends there at WKLT contacted me because he's setting up a little podcast site to basically to archive his little clips and stuff on. It was his main goal of it, and so it's not going to be some big thing that he does apart from his morning radio gig. But he's real excited about the technology and all that, and he contacted me for some consulting. And apparently I had struck a chord with him because in episode 36 of Podcast Help Desk, that's at podcasthelpdesk.com/36. I'm going to have a few links here today. Anyway, part of that, I had a segment in there where I just, like I said, complained about how lame the music radio was. My day job, I sit in an office and I have an office mate, and we don't really argue over what's on the radio, but I don't get to always pick it. So a lot of times we're listening to, poppy crap or country crap. And like I said, I love music. You'll see, I play music here. I like music. I just don't like the same bunch of songs, the same 30 or 40 songs across 10 different radio stations played over and over and over again. One day, I think I was listening to we were listening to the country station that day. One thing I did get her to do, my office mate there, is to change up what we listen to. And, so one day we're listening to country, one day we're listening to the oldies station, one day we're listening to pop, the pop station, top 40 station, whatever. And on Fridays, I get to listen to jazz. And I like jazz. Of course, I like folk and country and bluegrass and all that stuff. But jazz is kind of a nice thing to work to because most of it's instrumental and it's kind of laid back. But anyway, we never did really listen to this rock station because it's too much talking. Not that it bothers me. I enjoy it. I'd listen to podcasts all day if she'd put up with it. But, it is what it is. So anyway, here's this segment of me bitching about the broadcasters around here. And, this guy contacts me. So I thought, well, and I haven't listened to his show. So I'll, take a listen, see what it's like. And so last Wednesday morning, I'm sitting there at my desk and we're listening to this guy, and all of a sudden he starts talking about me. I was like, wow, that's kind of strange. So he starts talking about, how I was bashing the music radio in general and the locals in particular. And then he played the whole segment. So for about 20 minutes, here I am listening to myself on the local rock station. This is one of the big stations in town. I'm up against Bob and Tom, for crying out loud. Just a couple of ticks down the dial, there's Bob and Tom, and somebody misses that, and there I am. And I'm no stranger to radio. Of course, I do my own show on WNMC, which is way down at the bottom of the dial where all the public radio is, but. So, hearing myself on the radio, of course, I don't ever hear myself on WNMC because it's all live. But, being on the radio isn't a big deal. It was interesting to me that I was on the radio on a commercial broadcaster complaining about commercial broadcasting. And then it was cool after that. A few people called in and two of them knew me. One of them says, yeah, I know Mike. And I don't know who they are. Not that I wouldn't know them if I seen them, but didn't recognize the voices. but they're saying, yeah, Mike, he does his own show over here, and I listen to his podcasts and blah, blah, blah. You know, it was just weird, you know. And I'm going to ask him, I'm going to have lunch with him probably Tuesday, and I'm going to ask him if I can get an air check of that segment so that I can play that. Now, that'd be kind of meta, wouldn't it? Me being played on a broadcaster, bitching about broadcasting, and then I take a clip of that and play that on my podcast. I don't know. That is kind of weird. But anyway, it's going to be cool getting, and I won't give his real name. Of course, he uses Omelet on the air. But anyway, it'd be cool to get him going with podcasting. If nothing else, just to archive some of the cool stuff he's done. He just had an interview the day before or 2 days before with Bob Seger. So, you know, I don't know. I feel famous or privileged or something. But I do look forward to getting him going there. Let me get back to my notes here. And I guess we'll talk about the weather. Hey, when there's nothing else to talk about, let's talk about the weather. You know, up here, this winter's been really weird. Not as bad as last winter as far as the total snow. Last year, it started snowing just before Thanksgiving and didn't stop till the end of March. And I mean, literally, it was measurable snow every week, and it never got above 30 the whole winter, and, you know, had some days of pretty cold temperatures. But this year has been kind of strange. November, we got a bunch of snow, and here we go again, where, you know, it's going to be like last year. And then December was like somebody flipped the switch, and we didn't get hardly any snow. We had kind of a brown Christmas. And then right about New Year's, it kicked up for a little bit and then stopped again for a lot of January. And then in February, we've been getting a fair amount of snow. And then the last couple of weeks, it's really, really cold. I mean, 2 days ago, I don't know, it was Friday morning, so I guess it was yesterday. This is Saturday, by the way, Saturday evening. And I haven't been out of the house all day either. I just realized, cool. I don't get to do that very often. But anyway, it was minus 20 on a Friday morning. It was like minus 18 the morning before. And the week before, it was down to like minus 32. Not right here, but not far from here. So we're getting our share of cold. And the Great Lakes are catching up to last year's ice. Last year was fairly record-breaking as far as the amount of ice coverage on the lakes. And we're creeping up or maybe surpass that this year. Today, from what I understand, was above 30 degrees, which was kind of nice. And so here we are, 50 degrees warmer than it was yesterday, and it's still too damn cold. I'm ready for spring. That's all there really is to it. But we can't bitch about the weather. Everybody bitches about it, and nobody does anything about it.
I walked through the damp, foggy streets, my mind swirling. So much content, so many podcasts. How do I find the best? Then it hit me, like a big blue neon sign flashing through the mist. Blueberry. All I had to do was drop the E's and go to blueberry.com. Blueberry, the digital media interface for consumers, creators, and advertisers.
Yes, I thought about a great many things. Never did figure out all that much, but I did keep myself entertained. Now I am a great big man, or at least people tell me so. And I find myself think about a great many things, but I'm not sure just what all I know. Yeah. as I can of the few things I found worth telling about. Not a one could you hold in your hand. Not a one, yeah. So many good, kind-hearted souls, and no two of them same. Shaking so many hands, sung so many songs. Yeah, well, I've forgotten a great many names. What can I say? I guess I really ought to settle down. Lord, do this, some thinking on solid ground. Well, but so far to keep up with these thoughts on the way. Yeah, these thoughts about a great many When I was a little bitty boy, I thought about a great many things. I never did figure out all that much, but I did keep myself entertained. I still do. Hey, well, now I am a great big man. Only the people tell me so. And I find I still think about a great many things, but I'm not sure what all I know. I'm not sure what all I know.
And of course, that was Hot Buttered Rum off the same CD, Limbs Akimbo. That was called A Great Many Things. And I'll play one more at the end. I won't play too much music here, but hey, it's been a while since I've gotten to do this. Actually, I could do it every day if I wanted to, but I wouldn't have anything to say if I did that. But I do want to start podcasting a tad bit more, at least on this one. It's good therapy and good to keep my 2 or 3 loyal listeners informed. So anyway, let's see what was next on my list. Hey, those of you that are into ham radio and maybe know me from the ham radio pod class, I got a couple of bits of news there. I went ahead and reposted the Tech in the General class, ham radio pod class, the last version. The test questions, of course, are out of date, but the information's still good. So, go check that out. It was from about the time they did away with the Morse code requirement for General and Extra when we finished that last round of recordings. So, but anyway, they're all reposted right there at MikeDell.com. So check that out if you're so interested. And after 22 years of living in Michigan, I finally changed my call sign to a 8-district call. So instead of N7LMJ, I am now K8LMJ. Yeah, I just wasn't real creative with that call sign. I figured, well, everybody knows the LMJ part, and let's just change the prefix, and that's good enough. Yeah, I could have went with something else, but you know what? It's hard enough for me to remember that much. So, I don't know how many times I'm going to say N7LMJ on the ham radio. I guess I get to try it tomorrow. Of course, I'm still doing the Sunday morning net every other Sunday because of job commitment for the alternate every other Sundays. But still do the IOK nets on 14-215 at 9:30 Eastern and 7.185 at 10:30 Eastern. So it's 20 and 40 meters for those of you keeping score. So anyway, and I'm recording tonight. Did not inform the wife that I was recording. So if you hear some extra background noise, that's probably where it's generated. I'm down here in my basement, which is warm right now. It's actually up to 69 degrees, but I have to run the supplemental heat. So you're probably hearing that in the background, maybe. I don't know. My noise gate should be working okay. I don't generally get a lot of background noise, although I might hear it if I'm listening on headphones, but you probably won't. But you might hear somebody walking over my head on, like I said, down here in the dungeon. But let's see, what was I talking about? Ham radio. The work commitment. I'm beginning to think that I might be too damn busy, but we'll see. Right now, I'm still doing the full-time gig at the print shop, pushing a mouse around the desk. Hey, and here's somebody coming down the stairs. Let's see. I think I'm going to pause this. Hang on. Don't you hate that when a podcaster says, I'm going to pause this, and then they keep talking? Or at least it seems that way. So what's the point of even mentioning it? Anyway, but like I said, I'm definitely thinking that I may be too dang busy. I've got, the gig with Raw Voice and Blueberry doing tech support and sales and whatever else they asked me to do. That's part-time, and then I do the full-time gig at the print shop, pushing the mouse around the desk and designing stuff and making sure stuff that other people designed works on the printing press. So still doing that, 40 hours a week. And I mind you, this company that I'm working for now, it's exactly 40 hours. It's not 40 hours and 2 minutes, and it's not 39 hours and 58 minutes. It's 40 hours a week. I go in, I'm there at 8 a.m., not 8:01, not 7:59. I'm there at 8. I go to lunch at noon, not 11:58, not 11 or 12:02. I go at 12 and come back at 1 and go home at 5, not 5:05, not 5:01, not 5:02, 5. So it's the most regimented company I've ever worked for. And I'm also doing part-time still with the courier company. I'm not good at slamming doors. So, when I quit one job, I don't quit it completely. So I'm still doing the courier thing part-time. I'm, not on call during the week, although, sometimes they call me and sometimes I can do something, in the evening after work. And, I've done a few runs that way, usually, things that I can be done with by, 11 o'clock or whatever. And I take a call shift either on Friday night or Saturday night. So I, get runs that way. And then I do a route with them every other Sunday. It's a medical route. It's kind of neat. It's a lap pretty much around the northern part of the state, which keeps me in the game, gets me a little windshield time, lets me catch up on my podcast listening. It's about an 8-hour drive. So, take off at dark:30 on Sunday, every other Sunday. I'm not doing it tomorrow, so that'll be nice. I get to play radio. That's what I was mentioning before. But, it's an easy route. What's nice about it is, I go from hospital to hospital to hospital picking up these blood sample card things. I don't know. It's something for the geeks, but I stop at all the little hospitals all around the northern part of the state and end up back home about 4 p.m. And a lot of times I can listen to the NASCAR race start on the radio on the way, and then I can watch the end of the race on the TV, which is fine with me. And it gives me a little extra pocket change and keeps my foot in the door at the courier outfit in case I want to free up my days, which could happen. Who knows? Still working on my book, my podcasting book. I already got the book about airplane radios out, but working on the No BS Guide to Podcasting. I'm hoping to have that published by the end of March. So I've got about 30 days. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat there. What I really need to do is go upstairs and grab a beer. That sounds really good, doesn't it? So, well, maybe I'll do that. Let me get a couple of other things out of the way. But anyway, the book should be done by the end of March, and that'll be available at Amazon, and I think that's probably going to be about it for now. I'm going to do the printed version as a print on demand, and of course the Kindle version, but you get a little bit better deal if you make it exclusively Kindle for the electronic edition, so everybody can get Kindle, even if you're not into Kindle devices or tablets or whatever. You can read Kindle books on your computer. I do it all the time. And speaking of which, I've read 178 novels in the last year. Mostly, well, not all novels. Some, I've read 178 books, put it that way, in the last year. I never used to read that much. But the particular day job that I have, sometimes we're not that busy. And when we are that busy, I hit a button and then I wait for a machine to do something for 20 minutes. And then I hit another button and wait for another machine to do 20 minutes. And, so it's basically I kind of monitor that and I can read. It's kind of nice. But yeah, I looked at my Kindle account and 178 books. That's not just in a year, a little over a year. But that was amazing. Let's see, more work-related stuff. Going to be at New Media Expo in Las Vegas in April. I think it's the 11th through 17th. I don't know, something like that. That week, whatever week April 11th shows up in, that whole week is the National Association of Broadcasters and the New Media Expo all wrapped up in one. And I'm going to be manning the booth for Raw Voice, Blueberry, and Tech Podcast Network. So that'll be fun. I haven't been to Vegas in a couple of years, so go out there, play a little, and work a little, and get that all out of my system. My wife is going with me, so she'll fly in with me on the 11th, and we'll have the 11th, the 12th to do some playing around, and then she flies back out of Vegas to San Diego, go visit my niece for a few days. And then she's going to fly back to Vegas for another night or two, and then we'll fly back home together. So kind of a combined vacation / work trip. And that should be a lot of fun. And I guess one last thing, and then I'll play one more tune from the guys there at Hot Buttered Rum. Trying to find where my notes were. There they are. But yeah, okay, about the podcasting stuff. Of course, I do podcasthelpdesk.com, and I just started another series. It's a spin-off of that. It's called Podcast Starters, and basically what I'm doing is doing little 15-minute or so instructional videos. If you want to learn to podcast, it will start you out from nothing and end you up with your podcast on iTunes and Stitcher and all that. It's going to be similar in format to the Ham Radio Podcast, only shorter. And I'm going to add some screencasts to that. So I'm actually going to demonstrate some of the software and website stuff that you need to do. And, that seems to be kind of the trend in podcasting. Everybody's trying to teach you how to podcast, but everybody else wants to charge you $1,500 or $2,000 or send you to boot camp or enroll you in school or I'm just going to put it up. And as technology changes, I'll redo the episodes. I'll probably do 10 episodes with probably another 10 screencasts, and they're going to just stay right there on the website. They're not even going to be in iTunes. I mean, that's another experiment. I'm not going to put the podcast starters in iTunes. That's just going to be off the website, and I'm going to use Google Juice, try to see how that works. And most of the time people will be listening and or watching on the website. That's what I'm hoping for. And it's all free, of course. And then, of course, I'm going to, pimp my book and my consulting services in case somebody does need the help. But Paul Culligan, a pioneer in podcasting, one of the favorite quotes that he put out recently, he does a show called The Podcast Report now, which is about podcasting and the business of podcasting. But his quote was, anybody that tells you podcasting is difficult is wanting to charge you by the hour. The ironic part is if you wanted to hire Paul to teach you to podcast one-on-one, he charges a pretty good amount by the hour, I'm sure. But hey, he says it's not hard. I'm saying it's not hard, but you got to get an education. The tech isn't the be-all, end-all. I could sit here and talk endlessly about mics and noise gates and mixers and all that stuff, and it's all worthwhile, but none of it's necessary for podcasting. Go back and listen to, I think it's episode 39 and 40, both of Podcast Help Desk, and there's a guy that called in, and he's a mailman in Boston, Abner, and he's just using an iPhone. And, he sent in a voice comment, and he was wondering, what do I need to do to podcast? And I said, you're doing it. Nothing. You got the recording thing figured out. You make something sound that good off your iPhone, you're done. Go to the next step. So anyway, podcast starters, that's over at Podcast Help Desk, and click on starters there in the menu. And of course the Mike Rants, that's another little sub podcast that I'm doing. Of course, I also got Podcast Help Desk Quick Hits, which only put one in there, but I'm going to populate that with just little, 10-minute tips. So, they're all kind of related, but just wanted to kind of update you on what I'm doing in the podcasting world. So I think I'm going to call this a podcast. It's a podcast. Anyway, this has been Mike Dell's World number 210 for February 28th, last day of the month. Tomorrow we get to scream rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. So I'm going to close it out with Desert Rat from Hot Buttered Rum, their album Limbs Akimbo. Catch you next time. I won't be back after this.
Surface of things. I'm not looking for a deeper meaning than a lung full of wood smoke. The feel of my sister's hand in my hand. I was born in Tucson and I got my ass kicked by the Viet Cong. I guess they were just getting along. I might have done the same in their shoes. strip mines. The desert's crisscrossed by power lines. They drown the canyon so the city could have fuel. But I can't get away from the day-to-day. I can only sing of ordinary motion. Snow melting and moving towards the ocean. The powers that be won't let me be. Yeah, the powers that be won't let me be. And the war and the mall and the sprawl are part of the same machine. And it's no damn simple thing like a conspiracy. What's a desert rat to do when he's shaking in his shoes? When coyotes on the loose, what's a desert rat to do? What's a desert rat to do? What's a desert rat to do? With a monkey wrench in my hand. I am not a patient man. I am not a patient man. I measure desert distance with beer cans. As I drive the valleys and I drive the crests, I feel a dangerous how? Well, in a deep within my chest. It's a tune called Desert Rat.
That's all, folks.